on, guys? It's a legal podcast. I'm here with Travis West and John Burt. Thank you guys for coming on the pod.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah. All right, guys. So you guys played with each other for 2 years, right?
2.
2 years, right?
Just 2? No, it was
18 and 19, or was it
17 was
17?
No, I was a freshman in 18.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then you redshirted.
I redshirted, and then JB hurt his toe, so he redshirted.
Yeah, so I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about, what made you choose to go to the University of Texas? You get recruited by different schools, or you get a scholarship somewhere else that seems more enticing. Like, what kind of put you in that direction? I'll start with Travis.
Really, when I visited, it felt like home, but also, besides all that, I took the mindset of football's a gift that I was given, and it can be taken at any time. And in the event of that happening, I want to set myself up for a successful future, be able to go out in this world, find a job, work, and have those skills needed and develop them at a place that offers that. And Texas was the best option because I got into the business school there. I had a lot of other schools that I could have gone to, but knowing Texas is home, I want to start a family here. Getting into McCombs at UT was really the kicker because I could play football wherever I went, but having that education is what made me choose UT.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for me, growing up playing football, I was always a Texas fan. It was kind of weird being out in Florida. Most kids where I was coming from were either, Seminoles or Gators or Hurricanes or whatever. But I was always the odd one out, being a Longhorn fan. I had family that lived out here for quite some time. My grandma, she was the first black dean at the University of Texas. So, growing up, always been a huge Longhorn fan. And so I knew that, as long as I just worked hard and, did what I had to do, that, once I got that offer, there's really no question about it, for the most part, really.
And so how much does academics play into, getting into UT and also being really talented on the field? Anybody?
Yeah, I mean, athletics is obviously, a huge part of being a student athlete. Obviously, that's the main reason, we come to college is to, get an education. The football, or the athletics is really just kind of the means of, which we're able to make that happen. And, at a place like Texas, that's it's pretty much guaranteed that, that you're going to get a top-notch education, top-notch professors, top-notch, resources to, help you, succeed and get a degree in whatever you think you want to do when you leave here. So,
I mean, I feel like academics is what you put into it is what you're going to get out, and you can come play sports, you can go anywhere, and you can skate by if you want. So it's really your mindset coming into it to go, I have the opportunity to be at Texas, so I want to take full advantage of all the resources I have to be the best on the field. And then if in turn I want to be the best in the classroom, because once you get to college, nobody's forcing anything on you. So it's up to you to really want to dive into that education on the flip side of sports.
Okay, yeah. And so, both of y'all's recruitment's different, right? But y'all all kind of meet in somewhat of the same path. But you're also getting an education, which has, probably more value each and every year. More people want to come to Texas. But now you have the NIL, you have recruitment at a different level that you're seeing. You got to see 2021, right? 2020, 2021?
Yeah, 21. I was right on the tail end of my career is when it was just picking up, and people hadn't figured out anything.
Right. Okay, yeah. So kind of tell me, where have you seen Texas go, and as far as NIL, where do you see them going?
Yeah, well, I mean, you kind of have already seen it, with the Arch Mannings and the Quinn Ewers and stuff like that with, all the deals that they've managed to, to drum up for themselves with the new NIL rules and everything. With recruitment these days, you mentioned recruitment a little bit in there, just with the way, the NIL is evolving and constantly evolving, that recruiting, I feel like for the most part, really has stayed more or less the same.
Mm-hmm.
In just that, obviously there are these chances for these huge NIL deals depending on, the caliber of player that you are.
Right.
But, as far as I still think it really comes down to, ball, like, where am I going to have the best opportunity to play ball?
Right.
And then I think it's really on the institutions, not necessarily the athletic departments themselves, but just the institution as a whole being able to be a place where they can bring those guys in and develop their brand.
Yeah.
As a whole, not just being able to say, oh, like we're Ohio State, we play good football, so if you come here, you're going to get a billion NIL deals.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work that way.
Right.
And so I guess recruiting has evolved in that aspect, where it becomes more important for a school to be well-rounded as an institution, whereas as opposed to just an athletic program.
Right.
In terms of how you're able to drum up success for yourself.
So there's been a lot of success. Texas took the lead with paying their linemen like $30,000 per through the Pancake Factory and Heart for Horns, a not-for-profit. Then you got Quinn, Beats by Dre, or handing out duffel bags or things like that. I think those are all small deals that just the community and the university itself kind of brings in. But when you're seeing guys like USC, Caleb Williams, you feel like it ruins, the collegiate side of sports? Because some people would argue that. I'm definitely not arguing that, but some people would argue that.
Well, I mean, it's hard to ruin collegiate sports in that way. I mean, the NFL's been doing it so long. You can get brand deals, you can get endorsed, and people pay to come watch these guys play. That's the whole thing about college. But college itself, like that tradition, I feel like can't be lost, because that's what's so different about college and NFL. You can ask people, some people are NFL fans, some people are college fans, but when you go to a stadium of 100,000 people, yesterday 2:30, it's packed. People are here to see people play football. You go to Greg, they pack it for volleyball. They want to see them compete, play these sports. And now in turn, Caleb Williams gets to go on a Dr. Pepper commercial and say, I like Dr. Pepper, but I don't see that as in any way ruining college sports, because at the end of the day, people want to just come watch people ball.
And I think it does help the student athletes in a sense, because obviously not everybody is a Caleb Williams, not everybody is a Quinn Ewers, or Bijan Robinson or something like that. So I think those kind of collective, like lump sum kind of deals, like I think that's really cool, because when if you have there's 5 guys, you need 5 guys to have a full offensive line, right? You might have one good guy, the center or the tackle or whatever, but it's all 5 of those guys working together in conjunction with the rest of the team. And so I think being able to come up with these creative deals where you're sponsoring like an entire position group, or I think
like grouping people together. I see that happening all the time.
I think that's really cool, and I think that gives players that don't have necessarily the Caleb Williams type notoriety the opportunity to actually benefit from the NIL.
But, and also, I was thinking about it. At the end of the day, these are young men coming into this world, and I feel like for a long time the NCAA tried to shelter them, calling it an amateur sport. They're not professional yet. Like, they're not making any money. But besides all that, when you have to hang up the cleats and go into the real world, all you have to do is build your brand. And what you make money, what you make your living off of, is you building your brand.
Absolutely.
That's how you go through life, support a family, pay for your kids. That's how the real world works. And they were sheltering them for so long. And now people might ask, well, how do we make NIL fair? How do we make sure people are receiving
regulations
their
on it.
cut? Yeah, regulations. But also, in this world, some people make some more money. They have a bigger brand and they've built that themselves. And so they see more of that profit, and not everyone is equal. So sometimes you can't always talk about how do we make it fair, because really football teaches you this: life isn't fair.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, not everybody is going to have that notoriety that Caleb Williams and everybody else has. But the whole point of NIL is being able to take that and build it,
Mm-hmm.
and then be able to utilize it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I will say is, like, with NIL in college, it's giving you the opportunity, because before they didn't even have the opportunity.
Right.
And I think just by giving them the opportunity, I think that is making it fair, because like Travis pointed out, like, not everybody's gonna be able to make the same amount of money with their likeness. I'm not Travis. Travis isn't you. You're not.
Yeah.
Whoever. But I think just by giving them the option to do that if they want to, I think is the biggest step and the most important step that needed to be taken, in the last few years.
Absolutely. I'm going to touch on something that Travis said about, football will teach you that life is hard. It's not easy. It's not always instant gratification. You're waking up early, every day. Then you're going to lab, then you go to class, then you go to practice, then you treatment, and then you got to do that and you repeat over and over again. When I met you guys on spring break in 2020, y'all were doing drills. Your conditioning coaches.
Well, I wasn't. I was done. But
okay, so you were with a big group that you guys went with. Your coaches were texting you to send you videos of you doing the workouts. So when people say, "Oh, they get a break," not really, right?
Yeah, no. Well, I like you said, I wasn't obviously with Travis at that time.
Did you ever have to send in video like that?
Well, yeah. So I was. So I remember.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah, I remember Coach Herman's first year. They kind of came to me and said they wanted me to put on a few pounds, and so during spring, I was put on one of like the meal plans, or whatever, and so pretty much every meal I had to take a picture of it and then send it into our dietitian so they can make sure and keep track of
macros,
what I'm eating, and
Lord,
yeah, and they would they'd be like, okay, yep, this is good, or they would be like, yep, this looks all right, but here, maybe try adding some things here and there, whatever, and whatever suggestions they would make. And I didn't think it was like an invasion of my privacy or anything. I
wanted to do it, right?
I didn't really feel like I personally needed it, but I did it. I heard them out. It turned out that it didn't really work anyways. I was the exact same weight that I was at the beginning of the spring as I was at the end of spring. But
you're doing spring training though, right?
I was, yeah.
They were probably just trying to keep it on you, because going into spring camp.
Well, yeah, because I guess then they had me on there because I was also running track at the time, and so I guess they felt that some of the weight that I would put on during football season would be run off during track season, which really wasn't the case. I was pretty much the same weight year round, and I would actually be considered a little heavy running track at the weight that I was at. But yeah, so there are those like little micro things that we would have to deal with
right
on a daily. Especially here at Texas, when we have those resources to be able to. To do all that.
And you were a dual sport athlete, football and track, so no breaks for sure. what made you want to do that? Like, focusing on both, and you excelled in both. Um, you know, uh, there's a laundry list of accomplishments in that field, but what made you want to keep going? Like, it's so tiring. It takes up so much of your time, all while simultaneously going to class and possibly having a life.
It was taxing at some times, but I mean, up until that point, I had always been doing it my whole life. I was always doing multiple sports growing up, and I kind of felt like it was something that I really liked always, being in competition,
hmm
whether it was football or growing up, if it was football, baseball,
Did
whatever.
you guys play sports in high school? Obviously football, but other than
Yeah,
that.
it's like my freshman year.
Everything.
Yeah, I played basketball. I played basketball, every year up until my freshman year, and then I kind of let that go. And I played baseball also pretty much up until my sophomore year,
Okay,
before I kind of dialed it down to just football and track.
just football and track. So I want to take a water break because my mouth is
Parched.
dry. Yeah. Okay, let's talk on a subject about how these athletes have such a rigorous schedule, and then they now have to be their own agent, basically, in this market of the NIL. And these schools, they need to come out with some financial literacy for these players to get them on the right track. If the funds do come their way, if the NIL deals are coming, and every player is getting paid.
Well, that's a hard subject because I'll talk about Texas, and they did have financial literacy. They would bring people in. They are trying to give us all the resources. They are playing the supporting cast and really want to do it. But at the end of the day, kind of like your academics, it's up to the player to want to go and use these resources and take advantage of them. But on the flip side of that, I've been thinking about this a lot. I think my experience from Texas, they could have done a better job in making it more engaging. Because when someone comes up to you and talks about how you're going to have to pay taxes, how money works, like a lot of it's boring. And we're on a rigorous schedule. We got to be there every meal, practice, workouts, treatment.
Exactly.
And then when you get a text on Wednesday saying, hey, you have to be at the facility at 8 p.m. to hear this guy talk about finance, you're already going in with the mindset like, nah, this was my chill time. Like,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. 8
And
p.m. That's
and so that's kind of looking at it more broad scale. I think that's something that needs to be kind of at least
layer it into your classes.
Initially they need to have some more initial exposure to it earlier on in life. Like, that's something that they need to kind of at least start hearing about, like in high school,
Yeah.
or something like that, because kind of it's already kind of too late once you get here.
Yeah.
Especially if you're one of those guys that's looking at hundreds, thousands of dollars, right when you get here. To an 18-year-old, that they're hearing and seeing all of these numbers, but they don't really understand what comes with all of that. Like, they don't understand that it's not just, hey, if you go do, like, just go do this and then money will be in your bank account. Like, it doesn't work like that.
Right. You got to sign.
And that's something that the parents and the people who are in these support systems for these players, that's something they need to recognize and really attack and nip in the bud before they get here, because it's kind of too late when you get here, because now you're here, you're worried about keeping you're worried about, one, keeping that level of notoriety, which you only get that by going out and performing on the field,
Right.
which we know with the schedule that we have, and it's rigorous.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard, like even just to be a guy here, but to be one of those guys takes 10, 20, 30% more effort than you're already giving to just be a guy here.
Yeah, just to practice, just to like lace up and travel.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Travis, obviously, being a walk on, like, obviously nothing wrong with being a walk on, but like you're doing this, you were doing the exact same things I was doing.
Same.
Exact same workout, same reps, sometimes the exact same weight and everything,
Lifts.
same reps at practice, sometimes getting more practice reps during practice because you're, probably over there with the scout team. So yeah, those guys are expected to do all the same things that I was doing.
Yeah, everybody's held to the same
scholarship
standard.
player, came in starting as a freshman, led the team freshman year in receiving yards for first year, doing all of that. And imagine if I'm thinking about if I had that do NIL stuff on top of that. Like, I don't even know how some of these guys do it.
I'm saying that you don't even have time. You need, like, the system has to create another department. Call it NIL, call it whatever you want. Just give some direction.
It's a slippery slope though, because we were kind of talking about it, in between. Like, once the school gets involved, then it's no longer NIL. It's the school. It's just it is the whole purpose of the NIL. It's just named for that individual.
Yeah.
It once the school kind of starts, taking pieces and moving pieces around, that's where you start getting into muddy water.
Right.
Yeah.
Where it's like, how are all of these guys all of a sudden getting these, huge,
deals.
Huge deals? Man, they're coming from, like, they have barely any resources or anything like that. Well, school has essentially unlimited resources, unlimited
Especially
manpower,
here.
especially at a place like this. And then, like I said, it's a slippery slope. Then you start getting into, schools essentially creating and funding these NIL programs just to recruit players, and then you get into the whole illegal recruiting and everything like that. Like I said, it's a slippery slope.
Yeah, and there's no rule. There's guidelines, but it's a wild west still.
It is.
It's still very new. This industry is not even 5 years old. It's not even barely three. They wrote the law.
Apollo's 3.
Apollo, astronaut. That's his dog. A German Shepherd.
Malinois.
Yes, that's what I said. Let's talk about your guys' favorite NIL deals. Sorry, let me redo that. But ready? All right, guys. Let's talk about your favorite NIL deals that either have come across in Texas, whether it's the number or it's just like the deal. I'm gonna start first, so I don't get it taken. But definitely the Bijan Mustard deal. That had like a ring to it. I wanted to try it. I was like, that's perfect. Like, why didn't someone think of that? And here we are. So you guys can think on it, or if there's one that comes to your mind, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. I think the one that immediately sticks out and it was pretty clever was the who was it? What was it? The Iowa State running back or whatever, Reese. He had like the Reese's deal.
Hall?
No, there was some dude that got like a Reese's deal, and like his last name was like Reese.
Iowa.
I don't know, but I saw something on Twitter yesterday. I think it was Ohio State players, and I don't remember their last names.
No, there was one.
There was 4 of them, but their last names.
Osgood.
It was like a pizza place.
There was like some Reese's. Some player got a deal with Reese's. I remember seeing. Like,
Angela Reese, LSU national team.
Or was it her? Well, I don't know. I think she was. I think she also had some kind of Reese's deal. But
oh yeah. Is that the LSU basketball coach?
Well, one of the players, but there was a football player I remember last season he got. The name is escaping me, but yeah, no. I mean, there have been some clever deals. There was one. I think there wasn't actually an Iowa State one that I saw earlier this week. It was a couple. It was like four or 5 different players.
With the last names on the jersey.
Yes,
and it was like
okay. I definitely retweeted that.
Was it like buy more? Yeah, eat more.
Oh
ham
yeah, and their last names were
eat
bacon,
more ham
ham.
Yeah, eat more ham and bacon.
Purchase more ham and then bacon.
Yeah,
let's see this
ham
right
and,
here.
Yeah,
I definitely liked it. Come on.
You like a lot of stuff.
I know it was definitely, I think it was like Bleacher Report.
Super off check, but
somebody.
y'all seen Britney Spears dancing with those knives, bro? It's crazy.
That's a whole nother hour long talk.
It's like, what is wrong with people?
I think it was like on Bleacher Report or something.
But yeah, it was clever because
it was like eat more ham and bacon. It's like he's like I said, like those are the cool. Yeah, well, they kind of set him up for that one. The Coldest Crawford, but those the HVAC company. Whatever.
Yeah, that song.
He had a song.
Yeah,
I didn't hear.
Yeah, like it was a commercial.
Oh, I know there was some
like
there
he's
was
the
some
coldest.
like there was some like AC.
Oh yeah.
There was some like AC company that he got to deal with.
I think like what the NIL can do is like really help startup companies too who don't have a lot of capital to spend, but like players are wanting exposure. They want a deal under their belt. You know, free product is always
like that Iowa the Iowa ham company for those guys. Like I don't know those 5 players, but I mean I'd be willing to bet like they're probably just like some guys
like
on the team, but
100 pounds of pork a year.
Oh, like put them all together, and you got a good NIL deal with a crazy good name and a lot of marketing that comes along with it.
You remember it?
This just made me think of kind of the flip side, calling a spade. A lot of this does fall just on the individual athletes to not get caught up in NIL, and I'm going to get to my point. But it's the real world has been brought into college football, and it hasn't been like that because it was shielded. But with that comes a lot of different things. And I heard a story from some boosters about some players on the team. These boosters who were very successful in their business, they want to support athletes.
Right.
Gave an offer to a player, said, "Hey, come to a couple dinners and I'll give you $10,000. You get to go to dinner, meet with boosters from UT who are very successful. You build relationships, and maybe one day when the cleats are hung up, you give them a call and say, "Hey, I'm done playing football. Can I pick your brain? Can I have a job? Can I do something?" Just from doing that. But in turn, because it's gotten so big, these guys want to get paid, be in the limelight. He said no. He said, "I want 20." And the dude said, "Okay, forget it now. Now the offer's gone."
So they get greedy. It's like you can't push it.
But it was crazy because sometimes you have to look past the monetary value in building your brand. That's what it's
your relationship,
name, image, and likeness. And so maybe you're not making as much money as some other dude on the team, but you get to go out and you're like, "Hey, I'll come meet all these people."
Building your image.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's why the support systems for these guys has to be top notch, because if it's not, then you fall into those traps, you fall into those pitfalls, and then by the time you're done, like you made a couple $1,000, but then you spend it all on whatever
dumb stuff,
and then you're not that much farther, you're not that much better off than where you started. That's why it's important that when they come in, they at least have some kind of idea as to some financial literacy, like how
are they going to do it?
Like just basic people skills, like dealing with people and just that kind of thing. So like when that time comes for them to utilize the platform that they built while they were playing here, they have some kind of leg to stand on when they're approaching these people saying, "Hey, remember me? We did such and such together. Would you be willing to sit down and talk about some opportunities, or whatever guidance, whatever the conversation ends up being."
Absolutely.
You've done everything that you can to present yourself the best way to these people.
Mm-hmm.
And the simplest way to put it is the supporting cast for these players is so crucial, because it's like growing up when you're a kid. Like, you don't know best. You have parents that are leading you, but the most important thing parents do is that they can see around corners that in your young age you can't see yet because they've been there. And now you have these college guys who are getting all this money all at once, this fame, they're doing these deals, and they've never experienced it. I
Mhm.
still haven't gotten that point. But if you get that support cast around, people who have been through this, been working a long time, very successful, smart in what they do, they see around those corners that you don't see and can help set you up for later down the line when you're not playing Texas football. I mean, barely anybody goes to the league. So
Barely.
it comes to an end, and no matter what you do, it's not going to set you up for life.
Yeah.
But if you have that support cast to see around corners, it can help you change generations of your family.
Absolutely. No, and like whenever I'm working with these schools and universities and specifically these student athletes, I have to tell them like, okay, like yes, you signed this contract, but now you're creating a relationship with this brand. Like you, like we're gonna talk with them, and like you have got to want to engage with them. You would have got to give them your time, you know. And you may not have a lot of it, but you need to be attentive to the companies that invest in you, because in return you could hang it up and go work for the company.
And that's why that Bijan deal, you know, for example, is such a good because like when does people are gonna be using mustard
for
till the end of time, you know, like mustard's not going anywhere.
yeah,
Like he's got he was
longevity deal.
But the thing about it, he had that. I mean, you've seen the people. You know, you've seen Bijan's people. You know, when he was on the team. You know, I've spoken with Bijan a lot. You know, I like him. I think he's a good guy. But you know, he was smart and he was strategic about who he was aligning himself with.
Mm.
And you know, like I said, dealing with something that's can stand the test of time, like like a food brand or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, that's where you start adding value, start creating more value for yourself.
And what you just said, the whole world, real life has been flooded into college athletes, and NIL is great. But on the flip side of that, these guys are experiencing vetting all these deals, and there are bad relationships in the world. You can get into a bad business
not
deal.
Here for the right thing.
There's people who want to maybe take advantage of you, and I think it's important that evaluating a potential relationship, that it's symbiotic. Yes, you're going to pay me and I'm going to help you out, but this is going to help you out too. And we have to go on this journey together, because if I'm paying you to help me, like you get this money, you're going good, it's going to help my business. But if we can grow together, that's when the really great relationships start happening.
Yep, exactly. You have to surround yourself with good people, and evaluating those relationships, I think, is exactly what you guys said. It's like everything. It doesn't matter how many deals you get, but if you're not building a relationship with these companies, it's kind of pointless.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent in just people, and making relationships, and making connections and having relationship with good people, because I feel like I might meet somebody. Like I said, I never would have thought that
It's crazy how we met, honestly.
Yeah, I'd meet somebody like you, and just the fact that how much we're able to grow and build off and bounce off of each other.
Yep.
Like just with the different kind of resources that we have. Same thing.
Yeah.
With you, Trap, like you came in like that first year, and I kind of recognized that, hey, like this guy, he's got it up here. He's locked in. Like he's about something. He really wants to be something and do something. And so I kind of made that that leap and was like, hey, like I extended it. I was like, hey man, I like what you're about. I like what you got going on. We gotta stay right here.
Yeah.
And it's been like that ever since. So that's why I think more, if there was one thing that somebody was like, hey, what's one thing that you could let these athletes know as they're kind of going into this NIL space, it would just be like, have good people around you. Make sure you have good people around you, and just build look for connections and relationships.
Yeah, and that the relationships you build, when you find out they're good and you like them, that those are worth more than any amount of money someone could offer you. Because I'm in the oil and gas industry. It's a old, tight-knit community, and a lot of the deals you make are based off the relationships you made a while ago and just how you treated those people. And someone could come in with a higher offer, but you're going to pick the person you trust and have built a relationship with over all that money.
Because
it'll happen. This deal's going to go through.
The stronger the connection, the more in sync you're going to be, and it'll come. Whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, like, you got good people around you, you have a good support system, you're going to be able to, get whatever kind of assistance you need to get where it is that you're trying to go.
So, kind of changing the subject, can you tell me anything that happened during, when you guys were playing that was either kind of funny or just like, you wouldn't believe this? Because a lot of the fans, they only see what happens on social media and what happens, on the camera, Oh,
I got one.
Okay.
Our friend Jordan Pouncey, he played receiver with us. So, position groups, everyone's tighter with their position than you got other friends, but you spend so much time with the position, like, you get tight. I mean, well, side note, we had a little board in the receiver room, and every time someone said something a little bit goofy, you just wrote it down. You went on the board, and you were staying there for the whole year, and it was collected. But in football, for people who don't know football, there's a defensive coverage called Tampa 2, okay? I don't have to explain the coverage, but that's the name of it. Okay. Jordan, like John, is from Florida, okay?
They grew up together?
Well, he was in Orlando, so he was Central Florida, but I'll let Travis explain. But
go.
So we're in a receiver meeting, and the opponent we're playing runs Tampa a lot. And so Coach Maringer's, Jordan kind of zoned out. He goes, Jordan, what's this coverage? And he's like, I'll give you a hint. It's a town in Florida. It starts with a T. He goes, Tallahassee. And we're like, no. Like, everyone knows Tampa, too. Like, you have heard that word. He's from Florida. Like,
come on, dude.
Tallahassee? That's a defensive coverage, Jordan? Tallahassee?
Was he sleeping?
Yeah, he might as well have been.
Dude, what? That was in practice, or was
that was like in a pre-practice meeting.
Oh man, yeah.
But there was. I remember there was. I think it was Maringer's first year. You weren't here yet, but I remember you. I remember I told you about this. So this was really like the first week that they were all here, like the coaching staff. So and obviously how all they were. Stick in the ass. I can say that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy.
Stick up the ass. And so, for first day, right? Meal. We gotta check in for lunch, right?
Yeah.
So, about 3 or 4 of us just don't check in for lunch for first 2 days.
Like you would show up to the cafeteria, but you'd have to check your name off the list. So you could go eat and then leave.
No,
there's a sheet of paper.
There would be
like old school.
Yeah, like there would be a weight room intern or assistant
Got it.
with our names on the list, and when you walked into the dining hall, you'd have to get your name signed.
Okay,
off.
So you guys didn't.
And so kind of context. So previously, this is Coach Herman's first year. So when Charlie was here, that wasn't. We had to we had to go to the dining hall, but it wasn't necessarily something that we had to check off. So we weren't really used to that yet. So, you remember Armani?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Armani, he had missed. He didn't check in for lunch, or he didn't check in for breakfast. I think that morning, and then I think also that same day he didn't check in for lunch. And so we get into the spring practice meeting, and obviously Maringer's pissed. And so what ends up happening is, so he takes us outside to the field. We're still in not full practice gear, but we're in we're not, we're in workout clothes, t-shirt, shorts and shirt, right? So he takes us out there, and we do full field suicides.
Full field.
So
100
I'm
yards.
Oh,
One-
but
talking
back.
120. So we
Oh,
didn't. We
the
did like
touchdown
literal from the back of the end zone. So it would be 5 yards
No, sir.
10.
back,
No.
10.
Oh, no, yeah.
Back, 15-yard line back,
Back.
For why?
20-yard line back, all the way down the field. And we had he gave us we had 10 minutes to do that. And if everybody didn't finish, then we had to do it again. So
Bro. Just because your
missing
buddy
meals,
didn't do it?
missing meals.
He wasn't missing a meal. He was just not signing
He
it.
wasn't. Well,
Who knows?
who
He didn't
knows?
sign
Who
in.
knows? He didn't. Exactly.
So, did he fix that?
More or less.
Did he ever not sign in again?
It's that was
Bro.
the problem. I'm sure there might have been. I'm sure there might have been once or twice when he didn't sign in, and then there was. It wasn't really kind of on the position at that point. The whole point was just the reason we had to do that in the first place was to send a message, which was obviously.
Do y'all do group punishment?
They
a
were
lot?
trying to.
Oh.
No, that was
I
really
got
the
one
first
too.
time because that first year, Herman, the new coach coming in, he was trying to
Set the tone.
set the tone, set
Yeah.
his culture, and so there was a lot of that going on that first year, and then as time progressed and guys started to kind of fall in line, it became less and less prominent. There were still those instances where and a group would have to be punished, or the team would have to fall victim to some kind of punishment. But for the most part, it kind of fell off after that first year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gave you a break.
There would be group punishment. I got one more. This is freshman year. Shout out Morrow, if you ever hear this.
Who's Moro?
Morrow, he's in the
Jamo.
NFL now. He's a D lineman.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
He's my age, freshman year.
Okay.
So we had 6 a.m. Friday morning lifts because
Right.
we weren't traveling. We were redshirting. So we get in there. We do our warm up. It's 6 a.m. We're tired. It's Friday. We're not going to the games. We're just like, let's get through this. All of a sudden, Yancey's like, "Where's Morrow?"
Big night. Ooh.
And we're like looking around. We're like,
Who's saying this?
the strength coach.
Head
Oh,
strength coach.
head strength
Yancey.
coach.
Mean, like Metallica looking dude.
Yeah, where's Morrow? And we look around, and we usually don't go into the weight room without everyone because we know we're gonna get in trouble. We're looking around, we're like, wait, where is Morrow? And he's like, go get him. And we're like, what? And we lived in the dorm Sand Jackets right across from the stadium. She's like, go get him. And so the entire weight room,
I think I remember you
The
telling me
entire
this.
weight room.
we leave, and we're running to Sandjack, and it's pouring rain. We're running through there. We bang into Sandjack. It's 6:10 at this time. Everyone's asleep, and we're yelling through the halls. We're like, Morrow, let's go. We run to his room. We're banging on it. We're like, wake up. They're like, he's not waking up. We barge in the door. We look, and we're like, where's Morrow? He wasn't in his room.
He wasn't even in his room.
We're like,
Son.
and then we all look at each other. We're like, we can't go back without him. Like,
Yeah.
Yancey's gonna be even more pissed.
Yeah, we can't do
We're
that.
running around. We're calling him. We finally give up. We're like, well, I guess we got to go do that. We come back in the weight room.
No
say,
more.
Where's Morrow? And we're like, we don't know.
Oh no! So you guys ran back in the rain.
Oh, yeah.
That wouldn't.
Everyone's
that
soaking
was-
wet in the weight room, and so
And so we
Where
did
is
our
this dude at?
workout, and he was pissed. And the next thing I know, I look at Morrow, and he walks in the weight room. You could tell he's like, oh no. So we do our entire workout, and the whole time I'm watching Morrow bear crawl in circles around the weight room. And then after we were
that's
done,
a D line.
yeah, after we're done, then I look at him. All right, Morrow, let's do the workout after your 200 up downs.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, nah, man. I got.
So he
I-
slept in or
I got-
what?
I got hit.
I don't remember what happened, but it's safe to say he never missed a workout again.
I got hit with that one time. So I think this was.
Have you ever missed a workout?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, there was. I think it was the year that you were. I think it was your first year. We So I was running. Yeah, so it had to have been your first year because I was running. I was back running indoor,
Oh,
And
spring practice,
yeah,
right?
no, yeah, winter practice, right? So
Oh, I remember this.
yeah. So so how I had kind of had my schedule set up when I was running track was, so that year I was kind of going back and forth. So like when I didn't have like a meet that week, then I would go out and do my whatever football workout stuff. And if I had a meet that week, I wasn't gonna go out there and do anything. So the team had a meet in at Notre Dame that weekend, but the sprinters, like me, like only the distance team was going up to that meet.
Okay.
And so that Friday, like I wake up, I kind of like I knew that I wasn't going, but
Fog
my
ring
body, my body
was like,
was like, hey, like we're supposed to be, at a meet, so like I'm not supposed to be awake right now. But then my brain was like, wait a minute, I'm at home. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm in my apartment right now. I'm not supposed to be in the bed right now. So I woke up and I look at my phone, and I think the workout's supposed to start at 6.
Mhm.
I wake up and it's 6:10.
oh no.
And so I just stand, I freeze, and I'm like, all right, I got two options, right?
Quit
Because
football.
because they didn't really know what the schedule was. They just knew that if I had a meet, I wasn't supposed to be there.
Mm.
So they're thinking at that time, they're thinking, oh, JB's not here, so he's at a meet, it's fine. So I'm like, I have two options in that instance. I'm like, do I just go with this and just not go and let them know that I was at a meet, or do I just bite it and just go in there and say, hey,
late.
I'm late.
Yeah,
I know I was supposed to be here, and I was like, I really thought about it, dog. I was like, bro, they not gonna know. Like I could literally just get back into bed and like, but I was like, nah, man, let me go eat this. So I pull up to the stadium or whatever.
It's like 7.
It's
or
like
6:30,
it's like
6:45.
6:30. It's like 6:30 or whatever at this point. And they were just like, obviously like, yep. They were like, be back here 6 a.m. tomorrow. So remember I said this is a Friday.
Saturday morning.
So yeah. So Saturday morning in the off season is just me and all the coaches out there. Like all the coaches out there. I had to do
Pissed that they got.
I had to do because this was when we
metabolic
had
plays.
No.
Tour of duty.
Wait, so how many coaches would be standing out there then? So if that's all the coaches.
It's all the coaches, like
all
of them, coaches
in the morning,
head coaches, assistants, all the coaches were
And
there.
it's
Like
just you.
it was a normal workout day. Like all the coaches gonna be out there anyway, so it was like a normal workout day. At 6 in the morning, I had to do the entire tour of duty by myself, alone, by my sled pushers and all, and then I had to go in there right after, like maybe not even 10 minutes.
That lift,
the entire lift, and they were pissed, but they weren't really pissed because like they were more like, obviously they were mad they had to get up on Saturday and be in there, but like I could kind of tell they were really kind of mad because like it was me, because like it wasn't really something that they expected out of me, and I was like, yeah, I know that's really why I had to go in there and eat it, because I was like, dog, I
can't
this
live
is
this
like
way.
out of character. Well, like it was so out of character. I was like, yeah, I can't really. It wasn't really something I'd be able to be all right with internally. So I was like, yeah, I just got to eat it. Like it was a canon event for sure. It was a canon event.
All right, guys. Well, I think this wraps up the second episode of Now It's Legal podcast. John Burt, Travis West, thank you guys so much.